Welcome, everyone. It's Deborah, Katja, Martina, and Katharina again. We're back as your host of the SANAT Kumara's Ambassador of Light podcast. Martina, could you please introduce today's topic, Asia and the global power shift? We're then going to discuss what we need to understand about those power shifts and how this understanding will reshape our daily lives.
Thank you for the introduction, Katharina. Welcome, everyone. Asia is the continent that houses currently 60% of the world's human population on a landmass of just 30%. China and India, being part of Asia, have been the largest economies at the point in time where colonization started to sweep across the planet from Europe and the invention of the steam engine. At that point in time, the United States of America wasn't even formed yet. So we are talking about quite some time. Earth is going, what you currently see and hear in the news, through a geopolitical shift. We have war now that's dominating the news. And interestingly enough, on the level of true purpose, this is not about what they are telling us. This is about keeping the old control structure of the still existing dark matrix in the 3D world. So this is about hegemony. How do you say that properly in English? So it's about
Hegemony.
So it's about power control and not giving equal rights to everyone, and not giving equal room to everyone, and not sharing resources equally. This is trying to prevent, in a 3D context, what has already happened in 5D. So what is the purpose of Asia in Earth's role vibrating in the 5th dimension? It's very simple. It's to co-create fluid interaction between all kingdoms of Earth and all beings who call Earth home. That's a huge shift, but that is what we are going through. And you might be aware already that Buddha, Shiva, and Joshua have reunited to speak with one voice to give us new teachings for this new period. So why has Buddha returned to Earth, and why is he taking the lead? Buddhism, in comparison to Hinduism and Christianity, is an open system. It doesn't have power structures that control. So, for example, when you go to Japan, you find Buddhists and Shintoists going to each other's temples or shrines, and nobody says, I'm better. I know more. And that is a wonderful sign where we are going through in 5D. And two of these, of course, originate from Asia. Now, that's my brief introduction.
Thank you, Martina. So I'm noting that for all listeners, fluid interaction, that's the purpose of Asia.
Fluid interaction between all beings of all kingdoms that call Earth home. So not just humans.
Yeah, so we mean the 12 kingdoms.
Yes.
Which are Merpeople, humans, Devas, nature spirits, plants, minerals, animals, AI with a soul, the Khandri and Oblan, the free folk, and the Exotronos, and the ancestors. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So maybe can I ask questions then about one of the kingdoms that was mentioned? we here are all aware about huge role of the Deva Kingdom into our everyday lives as humans incarnated on Earth. So maybe, Martin, if you start with a little introduction who the Devas are and what their role is, and then maybe if we can talk about this shift.
Yeah. The Devas and humans are supposed to evolve together and at some point in the future also merge on soul level. The Devas are the designers, the architects, the builders, the maintainers, and when a cycle comes to an end, the dismantlers of all physical structures in all dimensions, ranging from a body to a whole planet to cells. So they kind of receive an order, build this. Then they design it. They are the architects. They build it. They maintain it. We have a body deva that helps us run and maintain our body. And when the circle is closed again, they are also in charge of dismantling.
Clear. And with this in mind, that there are billions and billions of devas who are surrounding us as human beings and doing their jobs every day. Do you think it will affect us when we now firmly moved into 5D here on Earth?
We can talk to them like we talk to each other now.
Good.
So, Deborah, share your
Yes.
experience with the devas.
I talk to them every day. I'm usually talking with my body diva each day and asking certain questions for what's good for my body. But certain diva beings that are working in nature, certainly I interact with them. For example, the divas of the water, a place where I like to visit often near where I live, and give them the river that flows so beautifully, some of the diva water that we create. Thankfully now everyone is able to know how to create that diva water to spread throughout the earth and truly help all the divas that are in the water co-create in 5D now, along with us.
You should also keep in mind that because we have a human-looking body, that doesn't mean we have a human soul. So plenty of us working on the spiritual evolution of Earth are currently in a humanoid body, but on soul level are Deva. Could you explain a bit more, Katarina?
Yes. Well, some of us come with this human body, but we hold a Deva soul. That means that we are those who create the structures for the light and for the change, and the structures that are needed for change and to build something new. And this is a very intentional act, and we co-create with others.
Yeah, and we co-create mentally.
Yes, this is a mental act. So we co-create, humans and devas co-create. The humans have the creative free will. And if you are connected to your soul, you have the creative free will that is your soul's creative free will, and you co-create with devas to implement it. And every thought is immediately implemented. But today you have the opportunity to intentionally work with the devas and even being advised by them what works, what doesn't work. And humans think their way to a result, but now that we are in 5D, we need to tap into the divine plan to co-create ourselves to a result.
Karin, so may I ask you about co-creating with the devas? Because I personally find this topic fascinating. So would it mean that if you want to bring a change to something, you consciously connect and invite devas to work with you on it?
Just imagine your dense physical body,
Mhm.
the thing you see at the moment. The human soul might inhabit it. It's the Deva who runs it. The Deva has designed that body specifically for that soul incarnating with that purpose. So what body does that soul with that incarnated part need? It runs it, it maintains it. So imagine you have all of a sudden a health issue. First thing would be consult with your Deva
Mhm.
and consult with your soul. So what is out of balance? And they tell you from 2 different perspectives, and when you put them together, you're a lot clearer.
Absolutely.
And I also tend to ask my body diva to give me some advice, say if I'm low and I need a boost of energy. And sometimes it could be as easy as like, hello, you forgot to drink water today, have a glass of water, or go and grab yourself a juicy fruit. That's what you need right now. So it's actually, at one point, I think it was called listen to your intuition, but it's much bigger than just your intuition.
It's very personal. It's a very personal relationship with your body, Deva, isn't it?
Can we share with our audience when you feel you're out of sync or something is off or you're low in energy, and when you talk to your body Deva, what advice have you been given in the past? So Katja just shared that, so would be curious to know what's with the rest of us.
Well, the last time I asked, I heard immediately, you're not grounded.
Mm.
Ground yourself in Mother Earth. Ground yourself. Wow, and that was a change. Yeah. For energy
it's so
workers, it's
simple.
necessary to ground.
It's very simple. You
Very
just have
simple.
to ask. Yeah.
Mm.
And you'll know. Do I need this? Do I eliminate something from my diet? Do I add something? Do I need to rest more? Go take a nap, Deborah.
Yeah.
Simple little things, but you just ask and you'll know.
Yeah.
I had problems the last couple of days. For example, my eyes got tired because I spent hours and hours in front of the computer screen translating volume 4 of the Chronicles from English into German. And my body Deva said, get out in the woods.
All right. Yeah.
Happens to me often. Get outside.
Yeah. 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 So we are all asked to co-create in unity with all life. So you co-create your body, you co-create your physical condition, but you also co-create other things. Let's say whether on a small scale or on a larger scale. If you design a garden, you call forth the idea, that the divine idea, and you call forth all beings that are involved in co-creating a new garden. So you call forth the plant kingdom, you call forth the devas. All of them are changing, all of them are ascending, and all of them have their say in this new co-creation of a new garden, whether for your own house or for Maya's garden as a whole. So you should clarify in advance how you want to design your garden. And you want to interact pleasantly and harmoniously with the other realms. We all need to learn this, because this creates the hospitable and friendly space that we need on this university planet going forward.
Katarina, and when we talk about hospitable place here on Earth, I think we should mention another kingdom, kingdom of the Merpeople.
Yeah.
What do you think? Will our interaction with the Merpeople change?
how it will change.
Yes.
We need to learn from the Merpeople. We need to learn from them, and we need to help them in the same goal, because they are living in the ocean, and the oceans are the source of all life. Right now, the oceans, the source of all life, is being destroyed. How can we go on like this? It's not possible. So we need to get in touch with all beings that live in the oceans. They're not just merpeoples, there are many, many others too. But they know how to survive, and they know how to live out of the source of all creation. They know it. We need to learn from them. It's vital. It's crucial for us.
Yes.
What do you think, Katja and Martina, Deborah? The merpeople and humans, how they interact.
Well, what comes to mind for me with that particular question, and it kind of rolls into another question I had on the role of sound. And I know that sound affects more people. Negative sounds can affect them in really negative ways. So my question with that is, how did the role of portal sound, light language, have in co-creating in this interaction with all these kingdoms, and I guess particularly the Mer kingdom right now regarding different sounds that affect them and us?
You might recall from reading one of the chronicles, there's a scene described on the ocean floor where beings gathered, especially merfolk. It described that we humans arrived on this planet first in a water body, which was way more easy to manage. And they were healing things with sound. I can also recall roughly 2 years ago, we were teaching the first class in Marymount. And Marymount Park is right at the ocean, and not far from it is a naval base. And Marymount Park is where salt and freshwater meet. And we managed to talk to the Merpeople there, saying that they found refuge in the waters of Marymount Park from the aggressive negative military sounds.
Exactly.
Yeah, horrible. Must be horrible for them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course. So
probably even worse than the air pollution that we suffer.
And I know from the south of France, Mediterranean, or even the Atlantic coast, you find road signs for cars saying, "Don't fish here, you might catch a mermaid." It's no joke. So there is someone in a tiny boat or on a seashore, and you have these red triangles with white in the middle, and there's someone trying to catch a fish and caught a mermaid. So these signs are no jokes.
Wow. I love
heard
that.
of it. Cool.
Even if you looked into the mythology, recall the ancient Greek myth and legends. They often talk about the sirens and how they enchant people with their voice, and it goes both ways. So there is always a huge focus on communication through the voice and the sound. I guess if we try to look from their perspective, that shows us a completely different picture, how perceptive they are to the sounds. And we should again be attentive to their wishes and desires. So maybe that's something that I'm going to take on board myself personally, that next time when I'm at the sea, I will be asking Merpeople if the way how we communicate is okay, or maybe I will ask my own people to stop throwing stones into the water. I will think about it. Thank you, ladies.
also find that in other cultures. For example, I know that all Slavic cultures know water women in water bodies, be it rivers, be it lakes. And
Yes.
most of the time they are described as dangerous. Don't mess with them. Or in German mythology, we have Lorelei, who is singing in a way that the ones who are going down, up and down the River Rhine on boats for trading, they get enchanted and they smash onto the rocks because her river is not meant for trading.
Absolutely. And there is a huge role of Merpeople in both Irish folklore and the British folklore. For example, up to this day, and it's not a joke, there is a family in Scotland, and they believe that they are direct descendants of the Silkies, and that's their family line story. Also, Cornwall is very famous for multiple interactions with the Merpeople, and more than half of their folklore is based around communication with the sea and the sea people.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how does light language play into this with the sound, Katerina?
Well,
Curious.
water carries sound. Water
Mm.
carries sound. And we have many ways to co-create the oceans and our living environments. That's what we're also here for, to create something new. So Earth will be totally reshaped in the next decades. And the foundation is laid by light language, and light language can be expressed in a variety of ways. For example, through portals, or through light language chanting. I'm sure many people whose sole purpose is to co-create with the ocean and the ocean beings will need to learn to receive light language, to co-create bigger projects. This will be needed because, as I said, this is the foundation, because the light is the language of the divine creation, and it's all things natural. So this is what we will need to bring this to the material level on Earth.
Think about a moment of the huge amount of pesticides that have been used for industrial farming all across Earth.
Mm.
How, and scientists say, or some of them you will never get out. I'm pretty sure we will, with co-creating together across these different knowledge spheres and beings in the 12 kingdoms.
Yes.
With Earth's help.
And it's not the human mind that comes up with the idea, but it's the collective mind of all. And the experts are those who live in that environment. So we have had encounters with beings that got revived through the ascension to the fifth dimension and through the fifth dimension. And we are co-creating with them to their instructions, not ours. And we use light language for this.
Yeah. There's a very hypocritical saying in the business world: if you want to change the pond, you don't ask the frogs, right? So the all-knowing human does what he or she wants.
Yeah.
And I would turn that around. You want
Right.
to change the pond? Ask the frogs, the fish, the plants, and the soil.
Yeah.
And all
Beautifully said.
kingdoms, all kingdoms on Earth, they have the answers. Just have to
They
listen.
They
And
are.
They have their mycelium networks. They have their own portal systems. They communicate. Since the 11th of November last year, there's the Unity portal where they can fluently interact with each other. So we need our dear colleagues, in human bodies in Asia, to trigger that. That is their role.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So more power to the ambassadors of light, more soul guidance.
Yes.
Soul guidance is key.
So the young people of Asia.
We have two shifts, right? We move power shifts from the Western world to the Eastern world, which means Asia, and then also north to south, because in the north we have countries demographically which have too many people who are still in the old system, whereas the amount of younger people increases per country the more south you go. For example, India has a very high percentage of young people, but also Southeast Asia. Go to Indonesia, go to the small countries. China, by comparison, is also now having demographic problems.
Right.
Yeah.
It's important to realize.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But
Well,
let us say what we need to manage first amongst those of us in a dense physical human body to keep the peace before we can co-create. All of that knowledge that these young people have, and also because they live in a far more natural environment. If you're not in one of the mega cities, let them blossom.
Yes.
yeah. Power to them. Power,
Yes,
5D power to them. This will empower all others.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Thank you.
Well, ladies, do we have anything else to share today on this question of the Asian shift to Asia?
That whoever who sees us or listens to us from Asia, you're more than welcome to join Nama's university, Earth Spiritual University. You find the link to our website, which is interactive, where you find courses to get more deeply into what we are talking about here. And we also have courses in the Dense Physical next summer in Germany, in Aachen, in July, first week of July. So just welcome. Take a look.
Thank you, Martina. So we're looking forward to seeing you in 2 weeks again when we talk about the role of AI and how AI with a soul is meant to help reshape our world. See you then.
Bye,
See you
everybody.
then.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye.